Hello and welcome to another session of Learn Spanish with Faraz. In today's class, we'll be dealing with Spanish adjectives that are called los adjetivos in Spanish. Now, first of all, as an English speaker, you're going to run into many problems when you first start learning the adjectives, rules of adjectives in Spanish, because in English language, the adjective doesn't agree with the number and the gender of the noun. That means it doesn't matter whether your noun is feminine or masculine or plural or singular, your adjective remains the same. You use the same adjective for every noun. You say the tall boy, you say the tall girl, you say the tall boys, the tall girls. But in Spanish, the adjectives, they always agree with the number and the gender of the noun. So you have to remember that the Spanish adjectives always agree with the number and the gender of the noun. That means most of the adjectives are going to have four forms: masculine singular, masculine plural, feminine singular, and feminine plural. Now let's take some of the adjectives that end in O. So most of the adjectives that end in O are masculine, just like most of the nouns that end in O, most of the professions that end in O are masculine, same way. Most of the adjectives that end in O are masculine. Did I say feminine? I'm sorry. Most of the adjectives that end in O are masculine. For example, you have gordo, which means fat. You have alto, which means tall. You have bajo, which means short. You have pequeño, which means small or little. You have bonito, which means beautiful. You have guapo, which means handsome. Now, let's take all of these adjectives. All of these adjectives are masculine, but they have a feminine form as well. In order to make the feminine form of a masculine adjective, you just replace this O with A. So, gorda, alta, baja, pequeña, bonita, guapa. So, gordo, gorda, alto, alta, bajo, baja, pequeño, pequeña, bonito, bonita, guapo, guapa. Now, how do you use adjectives in English language? In Spanish language, sorry. In English, you say the tall boy, right? So the adjectives always comes before the noun. So you have your adjective, then the noun, right? What is an adjective? An adjective is something that describes a noun. It can be tall, short, pink, blue, angry, stupid, intelligent, delicious, ugly. Anything that describes a noun is an adjective. Anything that describes the quality of any noun is an adjective. If I say the tall boy, tall is the adjective here, boy is the noun. If I say an expensive bag, expensive is the adjective here, bag is the noun. So in English, the adjective comes first, then the noun. It is not the same in Spanish. In Spanish, the order is different. In Spanish, noun comes first, then the adjective. That's why a lot of English speakers, they struggle with adjectives at the beginning. First of all, the order is different, and the adjectives always agree with the number and the gender of the noun. English speakers are not used to both of these grammatical rules. That's why they have a hard time placing their adjectives. So remember this. This is not always the case, but most of the time, I would say 99% of the time, a noun comes before the adjective. There are obviously some exceptions as well, but we are not going to deal with exceptions in today's class. So, what is a boy? A boy is el chico. So, what would be the tall boy? If I asked you, you would say el alto chico. You would just translate directly from your native language, that is English. You would say el alto chico, which is completely Wrong. It will be el chico alto. So remember, the noun comes first, then the adjective. If I wanted to say a tall girl, it will be chica alta. Now, a building is edificio. If I wanted to say a tall building, it will be edificio alto. Now, we have already dealt with definite articles. If you have any confusion regarding definite articles, then you can go back to my channel and you can go to the videos here. In one of the videos, I have described it completely, all the rules of the articles, how to use them. So you have definite articles and you have indefinite articles. So if I wanted to say a boy, it would be in chico. The boy, el chico. If I wanted to say a tall boy, un chico alto. The tall boy, el chico alto. Pretty simple. Now, let's take some more nouns and let's try to use them with adjectives. So, if I want to say, let's say, a beautiful car. Now, what is a car? Car is el coche. If I wanted to say the beautiful car, el coche bonito. If I wanted to say small car, coche pequeño. If I wanted to say a fat man, a man is un hombre, fat is gordo, un hombre gordo. If I wanted to say a fat woman, una mujer gorda. Right? So you have masculine singular form and feminine singular form. Now there are plural forms as well. Your plural forms, again, let's take gordo. So feminine will be gorda, masculine plural will be gordos. Just add s and gordas. So here masculine singular, feminine singular, masculine plural, feminine plural. So these are the four forms of the adjective gordo. Gordo, gorda, gordos, gordas. And that will always agree with the number and the gender of the noun. That means if your noun is masculine singular, you'll use this. If your noun is masculine plural, you will use this. If your noun is masculine feminine singular, you'll have to use this form. If your noun is feminine plural, then you'll have to use this form. Let's take the students. What were the students? Los estudiantes. Now, now let's take the adjective alto. If I wanted to say the students, the tall students, los estudiantes altos, right? So this will change because my noun is estudiantes, which is plural. If I was talking about the tall girls, then I would say las chicas altas. Here also it changed because my noun is feminine plural, so I'll have to change my adjective according to my noun. Las chicas altas. If I was talking about one tall girl, the tall girl, la chica alta. Similarly, if I was saying the tall boy, el chico alto. Pretty simple, right? So just like professions, most of the adjectives that end in O, they are going to have four forms or four endings. O, a, os, as. Right? Now, caro is expensive. Barato is cheap. Bueno is good. And malo is bad. You also have inteligente. You have amable. You have interesante. Here's the undo button on this. Okay. Interesante. Now, Okay, so here you can see we have some adjectives that are ending in O, but there are some adjectives that are ending in E. I already told you the adjectives that end in O, they always have four forms. In this case, it will be caro, cara, caros, caras, right? Barato, barata, baratos, baratas. Bueno, buena, buenos, buenas. Now, when it comes to the adjectives that end in E, like inteligente, amable, interesante, inteligente is intelligent, amable is friendly or kind, interesante is interesting. Now, when it comes to the adjectives that end in E, in that case, it does not change with the gender of the noun, but it would change with the number of the noun. So the adjectives that end in E are gender neutral, right? Unisex. That means same for both masculine and feminine nouns. Don't need to change them. So if I want to say the intelligent girl, la chica inteligente. If I wanted to say the intelligent boy, el chico inteligente. So pay attention here. We did not make any changes. Some of the people, sometimes they write la chica inteligenta, which is completely wrong. Okay, there is no such adjective as intelligenta in Spanish language. So remember, the adjectives that end in E are gender neutral. That means they don't change their form according to the gender of the noun. If it is plural, then just add S. If I wanted to say the intelligent boys, los chicos inteligentes. Same goes for the intelligent girls, las chicas inteligentes. So, no separate feminine form. Same for both masculine and feminine. Now, let's take another adjective that ends in E, interesante. Interesante is interesting. Let's take a masculine noun, which is el problema. Let's take a feminine noun, that is una mujer, which is a woman. If I wanted to say an interesting problem, un problema interesante. I wanted to say an interesting woman, una mujer interesante. If I wanted to say a an interesting situation. Now, we already know the nouns that end in sion are feminine. Situation in Spanish is situación. So it will be una situación interesante. Now, if I wanted to say the interesting students, los estudiantes interesantes. Now, what if I wanted to say the problem is interesting? The girl is interesting. In that case, we'll be using verb ser, which we have already done. If you want to go through the verb again, you can go to one of my early videos where I have described verb ser in detail. So your conjugation was soy, eres, es, somos, sois. So on. If you're on this video, that means you already know about this. So if I wanted to say I am fat, I would say yo soy gordo. If I wanted to say Ana is fat, Ana es gorda, right? Because my noun here is masculine. Oh, sorry, feminine singular. I'll have to change my adjective according to my noun. The adjective always agree with the number and the gender of the noun that you're using it with. If I wanted to say we are fat, nosotros somos gordos. If I wanted to say Juan is fat, Juan es gordo. If I wanted to say Maria is very pretty. Maria es noun very in Spanish is muy. Maria es muy bonita. Maria is very beautiful. If I wanted to say Juan is very handsome, Juan es muy guapo. By the way, the feminine form of guapo is guapa, which means pretty. So guapo is handsome, guapa is pretty. If I wanted to say my mom is very pretty, mi mamá es muy guapa. If I wanted to say, are you fat? That is kind of an that is kind of a stupid question to ask somebody, and it's kind of mean as well. If you're asking somebody, are they fat or not, unless you have never seen them and you've only talked to them through chat messages or something. In that case, you will say eres tu gordo, or you can omit this too. You can just say eres gordo. If I wanted to say, are you stupid? Eres tonto. Tonto is stupid, right? So again, remember all the adjectives that end in O are they have four forms, and most of the adjectives that end in E they only have two forms. So if your adjective is ending in O, four forms, four endings, O, A, Os, As, ending in E only two endings. If your adjective ends in a consonant, again you only have two forms, consonant and consonant plus es. For example, popular. Popular is popular. Now, if I wanted to say the girl is popular, la chica es popular. The boy is popular, el chico es popular. No changes here. If I wanted to say the boys are popular, los chicos son populares. Remember, whenever a noun or an adjective ends in a consonant, to make its plural, you always add es in the end. Whenever a noun ends in a vowel, to make its plural, you always add s. Right? Chico, plural will be chicos, ending in a vowel. Coche, plural will be coches, again ending in a vowel. Ciudad is a city, plural will be ciudades, ending in a consonant, so we'll have to add es to make the plural. País, country, plural will be países. So remember this, if a noun ends in a consonant, to make its plural, you add es. If a noun ends in a vowel, to make its plural, you only add s. So these are your rules. If a noun ends in O, again, there will be four endings, O, A, Osas. If it is ending in E or consonant, then it is going to be gender neutral. Now, the last category here is OR ending category, not to be confused with the consonant ending category. So if a noun ends in OR, again, you're going to have four forms, or, ora, ores, horas. For example, trabajador. Trabajador is hardworking, so feminine will be trabajadora. Then masculine plural will be trabajadores and trabajadoras. Remember we did professions. The professions, they follow the same rule. If a profession ends in OR, it always has four forms. For example, profesor, profesora, profesores, profesoras. Similarly, if an adjective ends in OR, it will always have four forms. Another one is hablador, which is talkative. Hablador, habladora, habladores, habladoras. Now, if I wanted to say a talkative girl, it will be what? Una chica habladora. If I wanted to say a very talkative girl, una chica muy habladora. So remember, in English, you're saying a very talkative girl, but in Spanish, you're saying But in Spanish, you're saying a girl very talkative. If I wanted to say a big house, now big is another adjective that ends in E, that means it is gender neutral. So if I wanted to say a big house, una casa grande. If I wanted to say a very big house, una casa muy grande. So muy comes before the adjective. In English, you're saying a very big house. In Spanish, you're actually saying a house very big. So be careful with the placement of the adjective and muy. A lot of my students would write una muy casa grande. That does not make any sense. That would mean a very house big. That doesn't make any sense at all. So, a very talkative girl is una chica muy habladora. What if I wanted to say Anna is a very talkative girl? In that case, it will be Ana es una chica muy habladora. If I wanted to say my house is very big, I wanted to say my house is very big. In that case, it would be mi casa es muy grande. If I wanted to say Lola is a very pretty girl. Lola es una chica muy guapa. If I just wanted to say Lola is pretty, Lola es guapa. If I wanted to say a pretty girl, una chica guapa. If I wanted to say Lola is a very pretty girl, Lola es una chica muy guapa. If I wanted to say a very pretty girl, una chica muy guapa. So remember the placement is very important, especially for English speakers because they get confused like anything whenever they're dealing with adjectives in the beginning. But slowly and gradually you get used to it and then it becomes your second nature. So far we have dealt with adjectives that end in E, O, adjectives that end in E or consonants, and in adjectives that end in or. So these are gender neutral. E or consonant ending adjectives are gender neutral. Here you have four forms, or, ora, ores, horas. Again, here you have four forms, oa, os, as. And here you only have two forms, a and es. So popular, popular, populares. Interesante, interesantes. Now, how would you say the boy is mad? So it would be el chico es loco. If I wanted to say the girl is mad, la chica es loca. Right? So this will change. But if I was saying the girl is popular, la chica es popular. The boy is popular, el chico es popular. No changes here, right? Because it is ending in a consonant. There is an exception to this rule, but we'll deal with the exception in our next session. Because the adjectives of nationality that end in a consonant, they have four forms, but you don't need to worry about it right now. We'll deal with it when we do nationalities. Now, for today's class, I'm going to be giving you a sheet. So I will be giving you some sentences where you'll have to change the number and the gender of those sentences. For example, if I say el chico alto, and if I ask you to change the gender of the sentence, that means it is a masculine one, you'll have to make it into feminine. So el chico alto, the tall boy, feminine will be the tall girl, la chica alta. If I asked you to change the number of a sentence, for example, if I wrote él es gordo. Now, if I asked you to change the number of the sentence, that means if it is singular, you'll have to make it into plural. If it is plural, then you'll have to change it into singular. This one is singular. He is fat. The plural of he is fat would be they are fat. Ellos son gordos. Right? Now, another example, if I asked you, la mujer alta. If I ask you to change the gender of this one, you'll have to write el hombre alto. So, okay, here I have another one for you. La chica alta es muy bonita. Now, if I ask you to change the number of this sentence, it would become Las chicas altas son muy bonitas. If I gave you this sentence, el chico alto es muy interesante. Now, if I asked you to change the gender of this sentence, in that case, so what does this mean? The tall boy is very interesting. Now you have to change it into the tall girl is very interesting. So the noun would change first of all, la chica, it will become. Look at your adjective, it is alto, so you'll have to change this as el. La chica alta es muy interesante. This wouldn't change because e ending adjectives are gender neutral. So la chica alta es muy interesante. El chico alto es muy interesante. The tall boy is very interesting. La chica alta es muy interesante. The tall girl is very interesting. Now I'm going to give you the exercise and you can take some time to do that exercise. If you want to check or look for solutions, you can go towards the end of the video where I'm going to provide you with all the solutions so you can check out what are the mistakes that you made and you can correct those mistakes and you can become better at the language. Now I'm going to give you the sheet. Before I give you the sheet, let's go through everything that we have learned today. Let's go through all the adjective rules again. So again, if an adjective is ending in O, four forms, O, A, Os, As. If it is ending in E, only two forms, A is. If it is ending in any consonant, only two form. For example, popular, populares. If it is ending in OR, four forms, aurora, oris, horas. If I wanted to say my girlfriend is very hardworking. Girlfriend is a novia. Mi novia es muy trabajadora. If I wanted to say my boyfriend is very hardworking, in that case it would be mi novio es muy trabajador. Now the mistake a lot of people make here that they write trabajadoro because they're like, oh, I have to change it into masculine, so I'll have to end it with o. No. Remember this rule. If an adjective is ending in or, it is already masculine. In order to make the feminine form, you just add a to or. So mi novia es muy trabajadora, mi novia es muy trabajador. If I say my boss is very talkative, mi jefe es muy hablador. If I say my wife is very talkative, mi esposa es muy habladora. Right? Pretty simple. So there are two things that you need to remember while using adjectives in Spanish language. First of all, you need to be careful with the placement. In Spanish, noun always comes before. Now I'm going to provide you with the sheet and you can do it. And once you are done doing it, I'm going to provide you with all the solutions toward the end of this video. Just go to the end of this video and you can find all the answers. Enough for today. In our next session, I am going to deal with the difference between ser and estar. Again, it's one of the topics that most of the English speakers have a lot of difficulty dealing with because there is no such concept as ser as a star in English language. So we'll be dealing with that. I'm going to simplify things as much as I can to make it easier for you. Vale. Adiós. Hasta luego. Chao.